Hello, everyone. I am extremely happy to be here because I have some important thing to tell you, that pivot is something positive, very positive. And I tell you this from two perspectives. One, I am from venture capital, so investor, you see, investor, professional. And second, I am professional researcher, and I done professional research about venture capital and Polish startup ecosystem. So I know what I mean. Pivots are positive, and what I see, I observe Polish startup scene and the whole ecosystem since I even don't remember how many years ago. And what I see that a few years ago, every startup was, fresh idea, start and go. And now when our ecosystem is a bit more mature, but just only a bit, we see so many startups which pivoted and didn't give up. And here I have a group of extremely brave and super powerful people who pivoted. They still have great startups, and they will share their story. And in the end, I will tell you that pivots are positive. But first, I want to ask Andrzej Sałasiński from Krajowy Fundusz Kapitałowy to make a short introduction and tell why we are here and who we are.
Thank you very much. My name is Andrzej. I am a board member of KFK. That is a fund that invested about $500 million zlotys into 18 funds. These funds invested in about more than 200 startups. We are using mostly European Union money, Swiss money from Polish-Swiss cooperation program, and some budget money. And here we have representatives of three startups that are financed by our funds. And as Magda said, they have something in common, so that they experience a pivot, so a change in strategy. They were selling to new markets or maybe new products. We learn from them the details. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrzej. So first, maybe I would ask Julita to present her micro case study or her story with the most important points in the history of Search Cloud.
Yeah, our story started around 4 years ago. We wanted to make a product for retail companies to check the effectiveness of online campaigns in the offline sales. What it means, we wanted to know and show the companies which clients checked the online campaigns, checked the ad, and later entered the brick-and-mortar store and bought the product. What we needed for this was a little cookie, a piece of software that we wanted to install on the cell phones of our clients, and the beacon infrastructure installed in the shops in the shopping mall. We talked with the clients, we talked with the retail companies. They seemed to be interested and really happy to implement the product. So we decided, okay, let's go for it. We assembled a team, we've built the product, and there came the time of pilot implementation. We installed this huge infrastructure of beacon devices in the shopping mall. And then there was a moment when it came up that, well, there is one thing that we didn't think about. There were partners, the owners of famous applications, that we needed them to install this little cookie on the cell phones of our clients. We thought before that it's going to be possible because there are cases on the market that it's working. Google does that, Facebook does that. We couldn't do this because we were too small company. We're a startup, and the big owners of the applications didn't want to cooperate with us. So we finally couldn't make the product happen. We couldn't get any clients to work with us.
But you didn't say bye-bye and close the office and you fight.
Well, we had a tough decision to make because we already had the team, we already had the product, we made our own beacon technology, we had the infrastructure ready, but most importantly, we had the clients that were willing to work with us. So this time, we said, okay, let's start again, let's try again, but with different approach. Let's use the clients that we already have, that they like us and they want to work with us, and let's gather the knowledge from them of what do they need and what are their problems. And this time, with this customer-centric approach, we went through totally different product development way. Because first, we were asking the clients what are their problems, what are the ideas for innovations in their companies. Then, having this knowledge, we are going to the office, making brainstorm, preparing the product. With this product, we are going back to the clients, asking them for feedback. And after several rounds like this, some better, some worse, we finally came up with a product that is needed by the companies, is affordable, and is possible to be implemented. And right now, it seems like we are in the happy end. We are going to have the pilot implementations with some of the biggest FMCG producers in Poland and in the world. And also, we are going to open our own chain of stores based also on this technology.
Okay, so I see that from your story that you created your business model wrongly because you didn't have enough contacts with potential clients, yes?
Yes, that's right. First, we didn't have enough contact with the clients, but second, we didn't have contact with other stakeholders that are also very important in the process. And the lesson that we learned from this was that, yeah, the pivot was, like the reason of it was a bit of bad planning, a bit of bad market research. We should have done much more market research, but the very more base of all this is the humans, is the people that we hired. And after realizing this, we hired very good team, the team that trusts each other, that is very good skilled, and that is motivated to the job. And this made us sure that the people that we have make the clients happy. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Michał, tell us shortly about the long way of DrOmnibus, which was really long.
Okay, so actually we are pivoting right now at the second time. So yeah, we are kind of advanced in that matter. But actually, I truly believe that the way we do the pivot is the way we develop. So it's really difficult to, especially when you're a young founder, when you are already a serious entrepreneur, maybe it's easier. But when we started DrOmnibus, we had a quite easy idea to use the therapy that is actually available in the centers, in the therapy centers, and make it through the mobile and give some base statistics. Yeah, and in principle it was okay. But then we had very limited traction, and the assumption that we're gonna have a lot of EU money for Polish schools to buy the software for children with disabilities was not wrong. Was just difficult to implement. So we started to talk to our clients directly. We also asked ourselves, do we want to stay in Poland or go global? And we wanted to go global from the very beginning, but we just didn't know the market that much. And the first pivot was actually about the methodology that is behind the solution. So we didn't have any methodology. In case of therapy of autism, for example, the methodology that is used in the therapy is a crucial thing. So we didn't have methodology. We used the practice of the therapist, which means it's good for everyone, but it means that nobody want to buy it because it doesn't fit to the frameworks, to the legal frameworks. So the first pivot was actually we started to do the solution that is based on applied behavior analysis. So the most efficient approach to therapy of autism. Then we started to go deeper into the market, mostly US market, because this is the most popular method, this is dominant method in US. So when we get into the US market, we started to ask ourselves how we're going to sell it. Of course, we tried typical SaaS. We tried calls, cold calls, better calls, conferences, whatever, everything. The problem was that the industry, the healthcare, in case of US, out is in the healthcare. In case of Europe, is in the education sector. The problem was that healthcare in US, like generally in all the countries, in most countries, is actually based on kind of insurers. So patients are not really willing to pay from their own pockets. So we needed to find a solution how to get into the reimbursement schemes. And we actually found it. And about 2 years ago, we started to go into the legal processes. We found a way to do that, how to do that. And actually, about 1.5 years ago, officially the first startup get the FDA approval, which means that can be covered by the healthcare insurers. That was the crucial step, and we finally see that there is a name of the industry we are in, but it took us like 2 pivots and 6 years already.
Okay, so as an advanced pivoter, I have a question. Imagine what advices you could give startup founders in this moment when they see that they need pivot, like this way is not the good way, and they don't see any possible solution. So what you did and where they should look for any advice or support?
To be absolutely honest, the idea behind DrOmnibus is the same. So we just believe in idea. That was easier for us because the idea is so good that it's just the matter how we deliver it. So the pivot was about the business model and the way we do it software, but the idea is still the same. Okay. So to be absolutely honest, if you believe in your idea, but you just make mistakes, or it's just a process that you need a pivot, but idea is still something you believe in, so you just the pivot.
Okay, so how you found a new business model? I don't know where you learn about it, where you learn about digital therapeutics.
Actually, if you start to sell your product, then you talk to your clients and you see what are the problems. So you definitely need to base your pivot based on your client's opinions. So if your client tells you that it must be covered, you must find a way how to cover the mobile application. So this is totally different. Think about it. About 2 years ago, we started to think about the clinical trials for the mobile application, something which is done for drugs. And now we are on the way to do that. We have the legal boundaries to do that. So this is totally shift, but we get this because we started to go into the clients and talk to other startups about how they see the future and how would it be. So if you are in the process, you're probably going to see the way how to change your business model.
Okay, and by the way, you have very supportive investors, as I know.
Yes, I do.
It was a joke because Michał is from our portfolio.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke. We are really supportive, but yes, we are in this case very supportive and try to be helpful. Okay, Dominik, Absolvent.pl is now like very successful company, well-known brand. But as I know, and you are here because we know that everything wasn't so straight and colorful and powerful as we see it now.
Magda, thank you for having us here. Who told you that? Yeah, that's true, because I guess there's no startup in the world, I guess, that doesn't pivot in some way. It doesn't have to be always the product. It doesn't have to be always the sales force, but it also can be the go-to-market strategy. It can be the sales process. It can be the structure of the company. So I would look at pivoting, not just that you have a product that doesn't have a product market fit, but I would also look at pivoting in terms of a later stage company. So if you have a plan to roll out a new product to your existing clients, and you know the product is is working because you did your tests, clients are buying it. Sometimes you're not hitting your numbers because your go-to-market strategy is wrong. So you do a pivot in this particular space and not just a product type of pivot. Yeah, I think we're doing pivots even in a company that it's not a startup anymore. We're doing pivots all the time. We're thinking, okay, how to sell more. We're thinking about how to improve the product. We're thinking about how to expand. And we have some expectations, we have some plans, but as one of the famous startup advisors, Mike Tyson, said, everybody got a plan, but until they get punched in the face. So I think that's something important, that even if you have the pivot, you worked out the pivot, you can be sure that even if you earn some money, there will be another pivots, and not just typical product pivots, but also the pivots in other areas.
How many pivots did you have?
We don't count it, actually. It's like it's not many pivots, because we just like look at what works or not works. I would call it mini pivots.
Okay, so as I understand, the whole business model is about pivot. You just do some MVP and test it.
I think every company in every stage has to pivot. I think it's for a beginning startup, it's easier to pivot because you don't have a lot of people on your team. You don't have a business model that works, and that's why it's easier, because you can change your business model. You can change your product very quickly, and you don't have to decide to dismiss a lot of people. You know, there's a famous case of Kodak. Kodak was a company which had a 98% market share, but they didn't pivot because, everybody said the business is going, we earn a lot good of money, and I think that's the most difficult thing. If you have a business and it works, and you know a lot of people are working for your business, you employ a lot of people, I think that's the most difficult pivot for a company, because you're making money, but you have to say, okay, we're shutting it down and we are shifting. We have to dismiss some people which do not fit to the new model. We have to train some people for the new model, and I guess that's the most difficult one. So
so how you communicate these pivots to your team?
I think the first thing is that you have to put inside your team that it's changes constant. So you always have to have a culture where people are okay with it, that there's change, and change can come in every way, at every, not every second, but let's say in the next month, next quarter, because the feedback from the market is different. So I think it's culture.
Okay.
As an investor, I am extremely happy that all of our companies pivoted successfully. So we have a chance to get our money back, both for public money and for private investors. That's very good news, I think.
Yeah, it also means that you invested in the right funds, and they can help startups. But my last very short question to all of you. If you could start the new company or start again to build your startup, do you have any things which you should do other way?
Basically, always do more research. Ask questions, go to the clients, and just never stop asking and never stop digging further.
To be absolutely honest, I wouldn't change anything, because it's just the way how we do the DrOmnibus. Of course, if I have a know-how and network I have now, and I will start the company from the time we are, probably it would be easier. But you cannot get it if you don't gain it. So basically, it took us quite a long, but now we are in the position, our know-how is so great now that we are able to talk with the US specialists in case of autism on the level that they are not even on that level. So
you have also experience with fundraising. How investors, and you see the difference between investors in Europe or investors from the USA, how they perceive pivots? It's
a long discussion, and we have 1 minute for this, I see. But to be absolutely straight with you, in Europe we have a problem in accepting pivots. In US, it's the way how you do the startup. So you get more money and you are able to pivot inside one round. In Poland, for example, in Europe generally, if you have your money for the first and the next round, one round is one pivot basically, because you're not able to be so flexible as you are in the United States. So in the United States, they believe that pivot is actually something that it can happen and sometimes must happen, and they are able to finance it. In case of Europe, we are still not in this moment. And as long as we don't understand that this is not the failure of the startup to pivot, because it's not 0-1. 0 is a failure, 1 is a success. Actually, pivot is something that is in between. It still can be converted into success. So it's really a lot of things to be done here in Europe to accept that actually pivot is the way how you do the startups. It's not something wrong. Thank you.
Dominik?
There was a question, what would you recommend to founders or startup founders? I would say what I learned from my ninth year of being an entrepreneur, I would say actually go where the money is. So even if you have idea and you know that this idea doesn't work at that moment for several reasons, actually, you should go where the money is, because by the end of the day, that's your blood, and without money, you can't work, you can't develop your company, and you always can go back to the idea you had at the beginning. When you have an established company and we have a revenue driver, and you know you're making money, because without money, you're broke, and then you have problems. Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing. And the second one, I would say, maybe it's not the best to say it on the stage with the KFK, with the venture capital, but when I would start a company again, I wouldn't take venture capital at the beginning. I would hold on for so long as I could to build up a company, and then at some moment went to a VC to raise some funds, and not do it at the beginning.
So thank you very much, and dear listeners, please remember that pivots are okay. Thank you.
Thank you.